Well, good afternoon, everyone, or good morning, I should say, or afternoon or evening. Depends on where you're at and what side of the dial living on. You are tuned in to KWMR at the mighty 90.5 in Point Reyes Station, 89.9 in Bolinas, and 92.3 in the San Geronimo Valley. Of course, we're streaming on the World Wide Web at kwmr.org, as well as cablecasting on Horizon Cable Channel 47. Got to tell you all that KWMR is supported by our listener members and by Whistle Stop, providing support and transportation services for older adults and people living with disabilities in Marin County. Whistle Stop's Active Aging Center provides meals, classes, multicultural gatherings, information, and referral services. It's all available by going online to whistlestop.org. And also KWMR is supported by Willow Creek Wealth Management, serving the North Bay since 1984, offering independent, free-only wealth consultation. Information is all available by going online to willowcreekwealth.com. Yes, it is that other Saturday, and you are tuned into Off Center Sports with Steve and Jaime. How's it going, Steve?
Going great, my friend. How are you?
I can't complain. We're both here.
Yes, that's a good thing.
We're still both gorgeous men doing this.
Yes, we are. I agree. I agree concurrently with that.
Well, since now I think I mentioned earlier, maybe I didn't, but I'm thinking we should forego the sports talk, here a little bit and just get right into our guests.
Sure. Sounds good to me.
So who do we got on here today?
We have Mr. Methane from England, and we have a gentleman named Esko. Now, here's what...
Where's Esko from?
Esko's from Finland.
Gotcha.
And the reason these two are on is because we are going to be talking about the World Fart Championships.
That's right, people. Fart, flatulence, gas.
It's everything it's cut out to be.
Yes, it is. Shall we bring them on?
Please.
Okay, without further ado, we have Mr. Methane from Britain and, of course, Esko from Finland. Gentlemen, good morning or afternoon.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening. Nice to have you guys here.
Yes, of course.
Thank you.
Yes. Now, Paul, let me start with you. Where in England are you from?
Macclesfield, which is in Cheshire. It's near Manchester, basically. It's 20 miles southeast of Manchester.
Ah, gotcha.
Okay. You're probably more familiar than I am.
Yeah, I've been through there a few times.
Okay. Yeah. And how did you get the name Mr. Methane? What got you involved in becoming a flatulist, I think is what we'll call it?
Yeah.
I think it was the harsh austerity of the 1980s, in England, we had the... you had the Reagan, had the Thatcher, but Margaret Thatcher sort of destroyed the industrial base of England. He moved it from being an industrial country to a country that just sort of deals in commerce, if you like, service industries, and so there was a lot of recession and lots of unemployment, and Mrs. Thatcher told us that we had to make the use of our own individual talents as little business people.
It was a wild time.
I decided I'd become an entertainer using the skill I'd got for something that I call it controlled anal voicing, but the French call it petomania, and it's the ability to breathe with your basically what you do you're doing with your bottom what Pavarotti did with his mouth.
There you go. I like to think of it more as Pavarotti does with his mouth is what you do with your bottom.
Possibly. Yeah. I like to think that we're putting the art into fart.
Exactly. Now, if I could cut in Esko. Now, how are you doing this evening?
Well, I'm doing very fine. Not at all.
Okay, now where are you calling? Where are we talking to you from, Esko?
I'm from Finland, a town called Kajaani.
Okay.
In northern Finland.
Nice.
Yes.
Okay.
And now, how did you? Now, what is your position in flatulence? What do you do?
I'm just a clown in our soccer club. We arrange summer events every year since 2009, and I'm just one volunteer in our soccer club. which arranges junior sports for kids.
Ah.
And, I'm just the right person to be a clown. And Fartman.
Nice Fartman.
How did you come up with the idea for a World Fart Championship?
I don't know. I didn't invite it. It was our head organizer, Seppo Kinnunen, who invited that or found the contest. First, it was a Finnish championship 6 years ago. And next year, 2013, it was World Fart Championships. And then we called also Mr Methane to our contest to perform his show. Because he was a winner if he was participating in the game.
I see.
But it's how it goes. That we just collect money for kids and junior sports by this event.
Oh, okay.
That's wonderful.
Okay, that's a great idea. Yeah,
that's an excellent thing to do. So I guess Mr. Methane then would be probably the equivalent, I guess, to the Jimi Hendrix of farting. I guess he would be that.
That would be close.
I think Mr. Methane is better than Jimmy.
Oh man, that's saying a lot.
Because he stands it very well. Last time I sang and he farted, and his farts were more tuned than my singing. I'm not a real singer.
Okay, so this brings it back then to Paul, or excuse me, Mr. Methane.
Yes, Mr. Methane.
Sorry, Mr. Methane. Now, when you do your flatulence, is there a music? How is this done? What do you do? Can you explain to our listeners what the process is?
Yes. So what I do is a muscular flatulence. It's not a dietary flatulence where people might eat cabbage or Brussels sprouts and then that ferments and creates digestive gases.
Mm-hmm. Correct.
What I actually do is mine's very physical. It's like a sportsman. We call it petomania because in the 19th century there was a Frenchman called Pieru who performed as Le Petomane, and so he is like the blueprint of my type of flatulence. And what I do is I expand the sphincter muscle. Mm-hmm. I draw air into the colon by raising the diaphragm, so I have to catch my breath to do this. And then when I've got in there, I expel it, and by relaxing the sphincter or keeping it tight or bringing the cheeks of the buttocks together or splaying the cheeks of the buttocks, I can alter the tone and the pitch of the colon cough.
Nice.
And so that is how I. That's it. Basically, I am doing, if you like, a Pavarotti from the rear end because I like to perform the best music is the classical music. I like the classicals, the Blue Danube and things because they're nice. It's incongruous when you set the farting against a nice piece of classical music. The two are extreme to one another. And it works the best, and that graceful do, and then which you can see. I mean, if anybody's listening and they've got a computer, or they could just go on YouTube and put Mr. Methane in and see what we're actually talking about now.
Exactly.
As we're speaking.
I think that was a radio first. The physiology of a fart.
Yeah.
I mean, that's incredible.
A muscular fart.
That's just incredible.
Is there any particular piece that you prefer to perform?
When I'm, my favourite's always been really the Blue Danube. I just like the speed of the. There are different compositions of the Blue Danube. Right. And I've got one by the Viennese orchestra, the Vienna Orchestra, Vienna Philharmonic, I think it is. Mm-hmm. And I particularly like their score, their delivery. And sometimes somebody will get the Blue Danube music, and it's a different interpretation, and it causes all sorts of trouble. There's a but note or two, if you know what I'm saying.
Yes.
But it's very.
But
the thing is, I'm getting ready to go over there like you say, a Cassius Clay of the.
Yes.
You know, I'm like a Muhammad Ali, a Cassius Clay. I've got to be an inspiration to the people taking part, and
Right.
so I'm actually now, you know, we're coming out of a very long winter, and I'm getting, I suppose the word is, because it is very, very physical, I'm getting farting fit, if that's the right phrase.
Float like a butterfly, fart like a bee.
There you go.
Yeah, definitely. And you know, because people don't realise how much stamina, how much it actually takes out of you to do a 30-minute show, you know.
I can only imagine. Jeez.
Because you use your abdominal muscles a lot, and obviously you just need that fitness, that stamina to just go that extra mile. Because you know you want to deliver for the people. You know, people. Last time in 2013, the last time I went to the World Farting Championships in Utjavi with Esko, when Esko invited me, some guys came from Russia. You know, they travelled all the way to Russia because they'd heard that Mr Methane was performing.
Oh.
So you don't want to let people down. You know,
fan base. Yeah.
I'm in training as we speak. You know, I'm sort of. You know, I'm on the you know, I'm there. You know, I've got my training regime, and it's all focused on the 6th of July.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
going to be the date.
Yeah.
It's going to be the peak.
Right. So, Esko.
Yeah.
Now, do you participate in the World Fart Championship yourself?
No, I don't. I'm just a patron of the game, and I'm an announcer. And I'm playing the role of fartman on the stage. I'm not participating, and I can't do as many things. I can't fart. and when I award, it comes when it comes. I can't hold on when needed.
So you're like the rest of us.
And I think it's very embarrassing if you have a wet fart.
I gotta cut in, fellas. You're tuned in to KWMR Off-Center Sports with Steve and Jaime. Here in West Marin, we have Esko and we have Mr Methane here on the line.
Yes.
And boy, this is a gas, let me tell you.
Boom, boom.
Yes. We'll be here all day.
Yes. I hope your kids are listening.
Yeah.
Yes. So, Esko, are there any rules that the participants have to follow in the contest?
Role? My role? Do you mean my role?
No, rules.
No.
Rule.
A rule?
Yes.
Rules, okay. Rules, I can say that there's a 30-second time when a ref says there's a fart pipe about meter high, and there's a seat where is the hole.
Okay.
The contester sits there, and the back of the pipe is another hole, and there is a decibel meter. And when ref says sit, competitor sits and fart during 30 seconds.
Yeah.
And then they measuring the highest level of fart. And loudest fart wins. And you have 2 attempts. And,
2 attempts, okay.
That's it only that you have had to use
2 passes.
Or that you don't mess around if your fart is something else than fart.
Right.
It's very and it's open case for everyone. No one needs to pay anything to participate.
So it's free.
And there's no anything. It's for kids, women, or men. No differentiates anyone.
So all ages and all sexes can participate.
Yes.
Oh.
Said it better in English than me. And
all right.
It's but there was very few women. I don't know why.
Yeah, I don't know why either, huh?
But if you think how do you can use doping before contest, vegetarians produces fat more than meat lovers.
Oh, really? Oh.
Yeah. Yes, it's true.
In Finland, you can use pea soup or buttermilk or fresh rye bread it makes more gas to your intestines, and you can fart better, maybe.
Right. So, so what you measure then is the loudness of the fart, not the length.
Loudness, not gas if or somebody faints there or something. It's only the loudest one.
Okay, so it's not the length; it's the noise.
No.
The
Okay.
percussive end of it, yeah.
So now I go to Mr. Methane. Have you won this contest?
No, well, I'm sort of beyond my competitive age now. I'm in my 50s, and I've been performing for a long time, and I go more as an inspirational guru, you know, a bit like Steve Jobs when he used to turn up at the computer. You know, if he went to a computer fair full of students writing code, he'd go along and he'd give them a pep talk and say, you know, this is what I did when I invented the iPhone 5, you know.
Right.
And so I'm very much, I'm there as an elder statesman of flatulence. And I've never really been, I don't ever see my role as to compete because there's so much prejudice people are prejudiced against breaking wind.
Right.
Yes.
I feel that there shouldn't be. We need to unite. You know, we need to stay and fight fart as a unit. You know.
Yes.
Everybody farts.
So I see my role as more inspirational. You know, like a bit like Donald Trump. He says, "Let's make America great again," you know. And you know, in England, Trump actually means to break wind. I don't think it means that in the States.
Well, it's certainly happening, but
when we went to New York, you have Trump Tower. And it means something completely different in England. You might as well say fart tower, basically.
and that's kind of what we do anyways.
But yes, I'm like this. I see myself as a unifying figure, and I think there's more to be had from encouraging people and getting us all going in the same direction, if that's the right word.
Sure.
Rather than competing against one another. But, you know, a bit of healthy competition, you know, people up to the age of 30, you know, you know, that's good.
Yeah.
Right.
Like all good sportsmen, you know, I've took that sort of commentator's role, you know.
Right.
You know, the one where they sort of...
yeah, you're the color man.
Studio and go, it's pretty good delivery, that. But I still do a show.
Play-by-play, yeah.
I still do this show, and that's something else to bear in mind. By the time I've delivered the show for the people, and we get to the competition, I'm a little blown out, if that's the right word. You know,
you're out of gas.
But then I've performed to tunes. I've blown out candles on a cake, and I've finished the show by farting a dart into a balloon on top of somebody's head.
Okay.
So, you know, by then I think I've really sort of exhausted myself as, you know, I've already run a marathon.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
You know,
Right.
To say the least.
So it'd be like entering another marathon, and I might be a little bit too. I'm sure I could actually blow that decibel meter right off the scale anyway.
Right.
And so it wouldn't be much of a competition, really. I don't think.
Well, I have two things.
That's my excuse, anyway.
Okay, I have two things here to say. But first off, Mr. Methane, do you have a website that anybody could go to that you could tell our listeners?
Yeah, I've got the mrmethane.com. mrmethane.com.
Okay.
But there is a Mr. Methane YouTube channel. If you just put Mr. Methane into YouTube, and there's a Facebook as well.
Okay.
Mr. Methane Facebook.
Okay.
So you can see lots of different renditions of tunes, different TV appearances. You know, sometimes people will get in touch and say, "Can you do a special birthday greeting
Right.
for my Grandad who's 79 tomorrow, you know, and his favourite tune is. I did one for somebody, and it was Jimmy Buffett, Margaritaville. I did a rendition of that, you know.
Okay.
And that's actually one of my. I had never heard. I know it's a big song in the States, but it's not that big in the UK. So it grew on me. Actually, I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And it's a nice song. It's just got these breaks between Jimmy Buffett singing and where you can just drop a little ditty in, a little sort of, you know, anal rendition.
Right.
And it's one of my. It's on YouTube anyway. If anyone wants to check that one out.
Okay.
Oh, I certainly will. I have to ask, Esko, do you have a website that our listeners can go to?
Unfortunately, I don't have a website. We have on the social media, Facebook. It's just search World Fart Championships.
Okay, World Fart Championships on Facebook.
Okay.
Yes, it's there. We had a website former, but not anymore because it's easier via Facebook.
Okay.
But I heard about Trump Tower. I have to ask: does the Trump wall prevent fart coming to United States? Trump is building a wall. Does it prevent fart smells to come? I don't think so.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I have to. This is one is for Paul. Paul, I've been wondering this since we've been talking about having you come on. What do you do to train for any of your performances? What is your training method?
I generally I do yoga and keep supple. So I need to keep my body supple, to keep my abdominal muscle region fairly tight, you know, because I use my abdominal muscles to sort of raise the diaphragm. I sort of create a vacuum and breathe in through the bottom. And I need stamina. The main thing is stamina, which I need to, I need to cycle and I need to go on brisk walks, you know, long brisk walks, just so the heart rate stays. Because if anything, it's the stamina you need. It's like any sport, you know. It's like a fighter, you know. He can be a great fighter and he could have lots of good jabs and lots of serious moves, but 15 minutes into a really fast fight, you know, if he hasn't got the stamina and the fitness, he suddenly suffers. So it's all about stamina, really, and staying power. And also, when you travel, you know, obviously everybody has this problem. When you travel, your stomach can get a little bit upset. So it's essential not to. It's essential to stay on solids, I think, is the right word to use here, because so packet of Imodium, you know, because you know, it's just, you know, I'm sure Tom Jones packs some throat lozenges, you know.
Yeah.
Mr Methane packed some Imodium, and it's very difficult. The thing is, with any performance, when people have come to see you and, you know, they've made a long journey, you don't want to let them down.
Correct,
and
yes.
That creates a tension, and you mustn't have anxiety or tension when you're doing what I do, because you have to be relaxed in order to breathe with the bottom end. You know, and if you're tight, it doesn't work. So it's keeping this sort of like a mindfulness, you know, just live in the moment and be calm. And you just go out there, and once you feel the love of the crowd, you know, the people in the ringside seats are getting into it. And it is one of the shows that it's actually more expensive to sit at the back than it is at the front.
True.
But It just all goes all of a sudden. Once the love of the group's there, you relax, you get into it, and you just want to give people a good time. And hopefully, if you've got the stamp, you'll go all the way through the show, not all the way as in all the way, if you're saying.
Right. I see exactly where you're coming from. Yeah, I mean, you are a performer first and foremost.
It's the whole thing. My whole thing will be, the people taking part in the competition. Their adrenaline will be for the competition, and my adrenaline, my focus will be on getting everybody up, if you like. An inspirational beginning. That people. Well, hopefully it'll whip them up into a frenzy so that they run up on stage, sit on the toilet, and literally blow themselves into the stratosphere. Hopefully, that's what we're hoping for.
Well, now I have a question here. This could be okay. We'll field this one to Esko. Esko, when you have the competition for the flatulence, now what happens? Do people have a microphone near their bottom, or how does this work?
Do you mean that the people meet near they don't mind. It's always fun when you're farting, because farting is still a very international language. Chinese understand what you do, or otherwise. Mm-hmm. Of course, it makes people laugh. And the microphone, it's just one thing. But I see this is very harmless humor, and very crazy even maybe, and I don't think this would be very popular because you like this or you don't like this.
Right.
There's no maybe. But it is fun. It's really fun. Everyone understands where are we going, and everything is humor.
Yeah.
Yes.
I hope you find something about it. But the microphone, it doesn't make anything. It means anything there.
Right.
And I remember the last show and contest when Mr. Methane was there. I saw that it's really hard work when I saw what Paul did, and after it, it's very it's very hard work.
Yeah,
to do what he does.
Indeed.
It's easy. It wasn't easy to go to the pipe and fart during those 30 seconds, but it's still different if you do as Mr. Methane Paul does. It's really hard work.
It sounds like it.
To produce fart when you want, it's not so easy.
It's true.
No, that's very true.
Gentlemen, I got to cut in here real fast, do a little bit of business. You are tuned into KWMR. This is Off Center Sports with Steve and Jaime. Today we're very privileged to have Paul Oldfield and Esko, both representing Paul Oldfield, also known as Mr. Methane, representing the finer points of flatulence.
Yes, the World Fart Championships.
The World Fart Championships. And, of course, we have KWMR supported by the Art Rogers Photography and Point Reyes Station, helping the coastal community tell stories since 1973 through portraits of families, babies, groups, marriages, milestones, agriculture, and landscapes, as well as through the Yesterday and Today series, which features family portraits captured over a span of time. For more information, you can pick up your phone and dial 415-663-8345, or just jump online at artrogers.com. And finally, over here, we're going to have KWMR supported by our listener members and by To Celebrate Life Breast Cancer Foundation, raising funds to help underserved women and men living with breast cancer. Through its Bay Area Breast Cancer Grants Program, the foundation supports nonprofits that provide direct and emergency services and believes that no one should face breast cancer alone. More information about how to get involved is all available by going online to celebratelife.org. That's tocelebratelife.org. As I said, this is KWMR, West Marin Community Radio, and you are tuned into Off Center Sports with Steve and Jaime.
Yeah, cool. And our guests today, again, are Mr. Methane and Esko, who's from Finland, who... Now, Esko, are you in charge of the World Championship, or are you just a judge?
No, I'm just an announcer. Our producer, Seppo, is the referee. I'm just one volunteer, and I'm an announcer and playing the role of Bartman. Bartman is a very hard superhero, as you know.
Yes.
Yeah. Finnish comic book superhero, and I just play Fatman's role.
Okay.
Okay.
So now you mentioned that there's a referee in the contest. What does the referee do?
Referee he picks the competitor to the pipe, and then he have a time glass. 30 seconds time to take the time, and when he says now, competitor have 30 seconds to fart.
Okay.
The time glass measures the time, and that's it. And then he measures the loudest part. What was the decibels? It's something more than 80 decibels, the highest what we had. Mr Methane would do lots of better.
80
That's
decibels.
A ref's job. Nothing else.
Yes.
That is one enormous
Now,
fart.
since the referee has to make sure that they're lined up for the pipe and then has to measure the sound, is he able to wear like a gas mask?
No, I think it should use. I was nearby the pipe last time. Maybe it was good, but we are lucky because the weather was last time so good that it wasn't very windy, so the fart smell or other producers didn't spread very large. And our environmental government didn't. They said that we can do. There's no air pollution or something else. It was so low level of methane what came in one contest.
Okay, that's good.
It's okay.
That's good. So you didn't add to anything to pollute the air for the planet.
Global warming.
Right. Okay.
The global warming is very dangerous thing, but it's a small contest. Only few partners there.
Yeah.
It was so small thing.
Well, how many people partake?
Yeah. Participate.
Finnish championships in first year was maybe less than 10, but the next year was more than 10. I can't remember, maybe 22 attempts for everyone. But it's very big deal to come to the audience, few hundred people watching, and there was media cameras and so on. Do you sit and fart if that goes on? That's maybe one reason why women didn't come there. Maybe.
You could be right. Now, do the participants come from all over the world?
There was from Russia, as Paul said, and they won both contests, single contest and team contest in the World Sport Championships, and Australia was also. I think there were Finnish people who was moved to Australia, but still they came from Australia.
Okay.
Just for fun on their vacation, and the Russian guys were real attitude guys because they came by train to Turku, and then they came by train to Utajärvi and walked last 5 kilometers, about 3 miles to the place. And it was a long time when they came there, and difficult way to come.
Yeah,
that's dedication.
Now, you just mentioned that there's individual and then there's a team.
Yes.
Now, So how does that work? How does the team work?
It was team was last time. There was a pipe. There were 2 seats, and the loudest part still loudest part still was working, but it wasn't. It didn't work, the team contest, and now there is no team contest.
Okay.
It was on because always the loudest part wins. It didn't work so good as single contest. Single contest was the working way to make that event.
Okay, that makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So now we go back to Mr. Methane.
Hello?
Yeah. Now, you have traveled all over the world performing?
I have, yes. I've extensively, really. Yes, brings a new meaning to the term "working your passage." Definitely.
Where have you been? What's the farthest part from where you are?
Obviously, I've been over to I haven't been to the States for a long time, but I used to come to the States quite a bit. Australia, Japan, the European countries, and obviously the United Kingdom, and you know, the European. When you say the European countries, that goes right down in the south, the southern states, if you like, the southern countries, Portugal, Spain, Italy, and right up to the Scandinavian countries, Norway, Finland, Sweden, all those places. And you never know. The thing is with my job is you never know what the next year is going to bring. You know what I mean?
Right.
You know, last year I started the year and I didn't know that I'd be going to Canada, and I didn't know I'd be going to Australia. Suddenly, you know, I haven't been to Canada for nearly 20 years, and suddenly I was invited. I did the Montreal Festival.
Oh, okay.
Comedy Festival.
Oh.
And I hadn't been since 1994, so that's it's over 20 years.
Yeah.
So either it took them over 20 years to get over the last time.
Maybe they forgot.
But, you know, it's nice to be invited back. But the fact that it took them over 20 years maybe says something. I'm not sure, really. You know, you could read that one either way.
Yeah, now,
you want.
Now, do you had Mr. Methane? Do you have any followers or groupies, if you will?
There are with social media. I'm not a big. I could do a lot more than I do on social media. Mm-hmm. You know, I could probably become some kind of one of these vloggers. You know, YouTube gurus. If I put more effort into it,
right.
But I don't. I want to keep it. I want to keep it original, if that's the right term. I want people to just. And I don't. I think very much with flatulence, less is more. You know, I mean the you know, people now go to a concert and you know, you go to a concert with a headline band now. You're in a stadium and it'll be 2 hours. It'll be a 2-hour show.
Right.
The Beatles, which are the most famous of all time, if you like.
Yeah.
30 minutes. That's all they ever did.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And so that old adage, less is more, sort of
right.
Plays out really. And I don't want people to switch off. I want them to come when they need a little bit of a cheer. You know, they need a little lift in the day.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, they've maybe forgotten. Because you're telling the same joke over again. It's the same punchline.
Right.
You have to just dress it up differently.
Right.
So, you know, you have to sort of give people a week or two off. You know, they can't,
yeah.
Some people will laugh at flatulence, you know, all the time.
Right.
You know, but
right.
I think you've got to step away from it and come back in. But I do have a following. But I don't sort of collate them. I'm not, you know, in the way that Facebook's in a lot of trouble at the moment for sort of almost stalking the entire planet, really.
Correct. Yes, correct.
And you know, keeping the details of what time you had your last meal and
right.
what time you went to the bathroom, almost. And I like people to feel that they can just step in and out of the world of Mr Methane and enjoy the love. You know, I don't keep huge databases of fans or anything. You know, if they want to follow me on the page on Facebook, they're quite welcome to just join in, and likewise on YouTube. But you know, if they feel that they need to leave the room, you know, for obvious reasons, then they're quite welcome to leave and maybe come back again. You know,
right?
I'm a pretty sort of like. If it cheers people up, if it keeps them going, if it just gives them a bit of a boost, you know, and they're sort of a very hostile and quite at times quite frightening world, then then that's all I exist to do, really.
Yeah.
Is just, cheer us all along a little bit and keep going for as long as we can do.
That's great.
So that's an inspirational flatulist, I think, a guru. I think that's what he says, Mr. Methane. He's a guru.
Now, my other question about this and playing out, and I like that. You're kind of doing the Buddy Holly thing, as he always said. Leave them wanting more.
Yeah.
But now, when you go on tour, are you the headliner? I mean, is it like Metallica and Mr. Methane, or do you what kind of venues and events do you perform in?
Yeah, I like to work as part. I'd like to work as part of a show because I think again because it is one particular point. It's one joke told in a number of different ways during a show. So we do the music, the audience participation, the birthday cake, the talcum powder, so people can actually see the gas emission coming from my backside.
Right.
We fart the dart into the balloon. So it's great, and I can hold a show together. I can do a nice 40-minute show with a support act, and but I think it's better as a whole. I think it's better to have one or two acts of equal uniqueness that are not flatulists, but there's an act in England that I work with who's a regurgitator, and he swallows things, and so we don't tread on each other's toes. We're completely different acts.
Right.
We complement one another because then the whole evening is things that people don't normally see,
right,
and don't normally come across. So I like to work as. Again, it's about teamwork, you know what I mean? I'm not an egotistical... I think you can achieve far more as a group or far more as a team than you can as an individual.
Sure.
Because there's a lot of prejudice against people who dress up as a superhero in a green and purple costume and go out breaking wind.
It's not something you see every day, you're right.
It's not a regular career structure.
No.
It's not something you see adverts for in the paper.
Yeah.
So it is I think you get farther or further, I should say, with teamwork. Rather than me trying to take over the world in some kind of. I don't want to be Seinfeld. You know what I mean?
Right.
I don't want to be Jerry Seinfeld, and let's be honest. His show. You remember Seinfeld when it was at its height? Mm-hmm. It's a number of characters. The show is a number of and all those characters are really strong. Mm-hmm. They complement one another, and that's what I want a Mr. Methane show to be. Yeah. Ideally, is. Let's have a dwarf on the unicycle, you know what I mean? Or anything, let's have some bizarre things, let's have other bizarre, like a circus, circus, Cirque Soleil, I can't say the name now,
Cirque Soleil,
yeah. So,
now, what does your family think about this, Mr. Methane? Do you have any friends and family that are...
no, they're quite... They're ambivalent, I'd say is the word. They're not for or against. They're just used because I've been performing for so many years that they're just used to it. It's almost like we get used to. I mean, it's a marvelous thing. The sun comes up in the morning and the sunset at night. They're amazing things, but we get used to them. And that family are with Mr. Methane that they're used to. That they don't. Even I'm of the same. I sometimes have to stop and think, oh, just a minute, hang on. I'm going to Australia.
Mm-hmm.
To break.
To break wind.
Traveling in business. Someone's paid for me to go business class to Australia.
Pretty amazing.
That's amazing.
Australia breaking wind.
What a world.
But. It becomes normal, and it isn't. It isn't an everyday thing. You normally go to Australia because you work in IT or something, you know.
Or you're a surfer.
To a Microsoft conference, let's say.
Right. I have to cut. I have to cut in real quick. Excuse me. Excuse me, Mr. Methane. You are tuned into KWMR. This is Off Center Sports with Steve and Jaime. Today's guest, we're very proud to have Mr. Methane, also known as Paul Oldfield, of just outside Manchester, England there, and also Esko out of Finland, who is the president of the World Farting Championships. Is that what it's called?
I'd say the World Fart Championships.
Yeah, the World Fart Championships. So
I can't remember this.
Yeah.
Hey, Esko, are you still there?
Yes.
Hey, how do you pronounce the city that the Fart Championship is in?
Pronounce. Sorry, I can't recall what pronounce means. Can you explain?
What city? What city does the event take place?
It's a small town, very small town, 3,000 people, Utajärvi, here in Finland. Utajärvi, very difficult to say. But it's a very small town, and it's northern Finland also. I live in Kajaani, in Finland. It's another town, yes.
Okay.
And it's a very small, crazy. Finland is known about crazy events, and this is only one crazy event in summer here. And I know the town supports financially this event also. So
really?
It's a big, it's big thing for little town.
I can
big
imagine.
Happening.
So you do have a lot of people that come to watch then?
We hope that there is coming people watch it. And I know there's coming filmmakers, a document movie.
Really?
A guy named Nick Sheehan from Canada. He's coming there to make part of his document about farting.
That's cool.
Oh, that's great. Congratulations.
Yeah.
I hope his film doesn't smell so much as we do.
Oh, we got our question now. We ask every guest. Steve, you want me to do it?
Yeah,
or?
you can do it.
Okay, this could be fielded by either Mr. Methane or Esko. Maybe we'll go with Esko first because of the competition. Yeah. Esko, do you ever encounter someone trying to cheat while competing in the flatulent competition?
I don't know if someone's cheating. I don't. I don't care. The fun is most first thing there.
Right.
That's no matter if someone's cheating. It's his problem.
Okay, but somebody has a whoopee cushion or something, and.
Sorry? I didn't hear.
Oh, I said if somebody had a whoopee cushion, the little bladder that makes... No, okay.
It's only for children. We trust a real thing. And that's how everyone does it as should. And I know, as I know also that everyone can produce farts.
Yes.
We can see if someone uses a fart pillow or what it is.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
Okay.
And what about Mr. Methane? Have you run across this with anyone?
Oh, cheating?
Yeah.
Like juicing, like somebody ate extra bowl of beans. I don't know, something in that realm.
I think that's allowed. I think that's allowed. I wouldn't say anybody eating more cabbage or Brussels sprouts is cheating, because it's like if the person is like steam engine, a steam locomotive, then you have to have a fire
True.
in your belly to boil the water.
Gotta stoke it. Yeah.
So I haven't seen. I don't judge. Obviously, most of the performances it's only me breaking wind. So
right.
I don't really see any cheating there. And I didn't witness anything at the last competition I went to in Utajärvi in 2013. I have seen it on the internet. You do see people sort of making videos or even productions. Where the farting is obviously fake.
Right.
It's obviously They should have rung me up, basically, and got me in.
Gone with the pro.
That's right.
To do a voiceover, you know what I mean? Like get him to do a voiceover.
A little fart over. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, there might be a Hollywood career there for you.
I hope so. You know, I mean, I'm hoping maybe one day there'll be a Mr Methane the movie. You know,
I could see that.
It could happen one day. You know, these things happen when you know. I think flatulists are like artists. They tend to be remembered more when they're not around. You know, because they can't be got at anymore. And I think the tale, you know, it's like the tale of Lepetterman has become huge after his death. Although he was popular in France, you know, the tale is a worldwide phenomenon now, and there was a few movies made in the 1980s about him, one in Italy and one in Great Britain.
Right.
So, you know, yeah, I think the big money will have to go to my great grandchildren or my nieces or my nephews. I think they'll enjoy the legacy of my the fruits of my rear end. I think they will enjoy.
Yeah, he was the George Clooney of flatulence.
Yes, there you go. I have a question for you, Mr. Methane. What is I don't know how to ask this question. What is the biggest audience you've participated in front of?
I would say, I was thinking about this the other day because I did another big audience, but I do remember in the 90s I went to Chicago and I did a Halloween. It was the Halloween 31st or 30th of October.
Uh-huh.
It was a Halloween spectacular with a famous DJ in Chicago, and it was in the United Center, the Chicago Bulls stadium there. Mm-hmm. And so I think I can't remember if that told 30,000 or 40,000 or 60,000. I'm not sure, but certainly that is probably the biggest venue. Though I did do a stadium once in Austria for a performance, like a stunt bike show, where they had this interval, and they had me on one of the ramps in the middle of this huge stadium in Vienna with all these people. But I was really, you know, I was talking earlier about you need to be relaxed, and they had me right on the end. You know, a ramp goes up and then it's a sheer drop. So they had me lying on a table on this huge ramp with this sheer drop to one side, and I thought, oh my God, if I just roll off the table in my farting position, and I, you know, so I tensed up. And the other thing is, when you're in a huge room, you're disconnected from the audience because they're so far away, and you connect with your audience through the video cameras of the people. You know, like you know, when you go to a hockey game, ice hockey game, or a basketball or baseball, you know, people are watching the intimate moments on the screen, so they're not actually looking at you; they're looking at that huge screen. So it's a weird feeling. But being so high up in the middle of this huge stadium and the sheer drop to one side, it didn't help me to relax my sphincter muscle. If anything, I was, you know, it was a tough call. That one was a very tough call.
Yeah, that's scary. Have you ever performed for like the Queen or anybody high?
I have, but they don't like. We don't. We have a gentleman's agreement that we don't talk about it.
Okay.
You know, what happens there stays there.
I guess that's the Vegas over there.
Yeah, the Las Vegas. Yeah, exactly. Well, gentlemen, we've only got a few minutes left.
Yeah, a couple.
Mr. Methane, could you please give the website for our listeners if they would like to view you on YouTube or learn more about you online?
Certainly, yeah. If you just go to Google, if you put YouTube Mr Methane, MRMETHANE, like the gas,
Okay.
and you'll get the YouTube site. But there's also mrmethane.com, MRMETHANE.com, and then there's the Facebook, Mr Methane, or methane, as we'd say over here. You know, it's that tomato thing.
Right. Yeah.
You know, you say methane, we say methane, and there's a Mr Methane Facebook as well, where you can leave me a message there, and generally I do try and reply to everybody's message. So,
Okay, great.
Great.
I do my best, though sometimes it does get a bit overwhelming.
Yes.
You know, and people think you're being rude, and you have to say, I have a guy, I think he lives in Istanbul, in Turkey.
Oh, my goodness.
I get mixed up, Egypt, Turkey, but he's down in Istanbul, and he gets a little upset if I'm a day or two, if it takes more than a few days to write back to him.
You're only human.
These things happen.
Yeah, he's going to have to dial 1-800-LET IT GO.
There you go.
He is, definitely.
Okay.
But yeah, anything, just Google Mr. Methane and you'll find all the orifices, I think. All the orifices.
Excellent. Esko, what's the Facebook?
Yep.
What's the name of your Facebook site?
It was a World Fart Championships.
World Fart Championships. Okay, and they take place what time of year or what month?
7th of July.
7th of July this year.
Yes, this year it was. And also I've got a Twitter. In Twitter it is a fart race.
Okay, fart race. Okay.
Fart race. I forgot that first. But can I ask something?
Sure.
Do they have nowadays a fart Oscar in Hollywood?
No, but they should.
New prize, maybe.
Yes, definitely.
if he's farting George Clooney or other, what was it? I didn't recall it.
That would be an awesome one. I would love it.
That's a great idea.
It would be great. Oscar of fart.
Okay. Thank you, too, for taking the time. And I know for both of you, it's kind of Saturday night. So I totally appreciate you guys taking the time for being guests today.
Yeah, we thank you, gentlemen. Thank you so much.
Thank you, and thanks to you also. Okay.
Yes, thank you very much. And a word of advice for your listeners, if they're thinking of trying this at home, then always practice in a well-ventilated room.
Great idea. Good. Thank you for the tips.
Good word of advice.
Good tips.
All right, good night, gentlemen.
Thank
you so much.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Oh, man, another great one. So what's coming up? We got only a few seconds left here, Steve.
In 2 weeks, we're going to speak to somebody from the United States Coffee Championships.
Oh, yes, something I'm steeped in. Get it? Get it?
Boots.
I've got a bunch of them.
Yeah, I hope our listeners didn't think today's show stunk.
Yeah.
Oh, did I say that?
Boom.
Oh.
All right, everybody, we'll see you guys in 2 weeks.
Yep.
And you are tuned into KWMR. This was Off Center Sports with
Steve
and Jaime.
Talk to you later.
Bye.